Like many other artists in the music industry, Taylor Swift feels the royalties being paid by streaming services such as Spotify are unfair. Spotify allows for both paid listeners and free streaming with the ads. The idea behind this was to combat piracy. Unfortunately, royalties are higher with paid streaming, while royalties are paid out less than $1 via free streaming. The initial negotiation involved fair pay among royalties. Swift believes that music shouldn't be free. Swift said in 2014, "My hope for the future, not just in the music industry, but in every young girl I meet, is that they all realize their worth and ask for it. Music is art, and art is important and rare. Important, rare things are valuable. Valuable things should be paid for." Her underlying interest is fairness and more control over her financial worth. Spotify was created to combat piracy. The company believes that streaming free music with ads will pull people away from pirating music. Taylor Swift's initial bargaining position was to keep her music off free streaming platforms. Spotify denied her request, and by doing so revealed their position to stand by their two-tiered streaming system. McIntyre conveyed in 2015, "If services like Spotify were to begin allowing artists to put restrictions on their music, it could very quickly complicate the service, and the overall experience would suffer." Taylor Swift's BATNA, or best alternate to negotiated agreement, was to pull all her music off Spotify in response to her previous request being denied. Mulligan, ND, said, "Taylor Swift is in the enviable position of having pretty deep pockets herself, and she will still make serious money on 1989 and the rest of her music, as she has a myriad other outlets for the sales of her music. But firing the first salvo like this certainly got the attention of the digital streaming music industry." Rolling Stones magazine quotes Swift's record label president, Scott Bachetta, as describing this move as a big fist in the air. The communication styles being used certainly were against Swift and Spotify. They both seem to have a commander communication style, with no adaptation of another style. Spotify especially was obstinate and unbending in their position. Derived from a Rolling Stones article, Bachetta 2014 said, "They take the music and they say we're going to put it everywhere we want to put it, and we really don't care about what you want to do. Give us everything that you have and we're going to do what we want with it, and that doesn't work for us. They just need to be a better partner." While Taylor Swift took advantage of the negotiation being public and played it to her advantage, the publicity was harmful to Spotify. Mediation or arbitration could have been used to help settle this negotiation outside the public eye. It would have benefited both parties by coming to a quicker decision and staying out of the public eye. In the future, Spotify could write it into the contract for artists and labels they have contracts with. One thing that was done successfully as a negotiation is the strength of Swift's position in BATNA. It encouraged other artists to do things similar in hopes of change. Mulligan conveyed, "Taylor Swift is a darling of pop music and the biggest name to call out Spotify, but she is only one in a growing group of well-known but disgruntled artists. Taylor Swift stood up for what she believed in. She knew she had a strong position, which allowed her to successfully go through with her BATNA." One thing that negatively impacted the negotiation was Spotify's inability to be flexible and work toward a mutual agreement. Derived from an article, Kedmi quoted Spotify CEO Daniel Ek, "When I hear stories about artists and songwriters who say they've seen little or no money from streaming and are all naturally angry and frustrated, I'm really frustrated too," Ek wrote in the post. "We will do anything we can to work with the industry to increase transparency, improve speed of payments, and give artists the opportunity to promote themselves and connect with fans." Unfortunately, this was after the fact Swift pulled her music in response to her original request being denied. If Spotify had been more flexible and willing to work with instead of against, they would have gained more positive working relationships as well as avoided the public backlash. Initially, this negotiation reached a stalemate. It wasn't until late 2017 that the conflict was fully resolved. Spotify found a solution for better payouts. Britton conveyed in 2018, Spotify filed to trade in the New York Stock Exchange under the name Spot. In the filing, Spotify declared that it had contributed hugely to reversing the downward financial trajectory of the music industry, while also arguing that music streaming would continue to be big business for the industry. Taylor Swift realized that streaming was here to stay and understood her fan base wanted her music more accessible with the growing trend of streaming services.